Good day, everyone. I'm Joy Abbott Merced, and I'm going to tackle about the educational system at present for the elementary education and secondary education. So, as we all know, education is vital in almost every part of the world. Though every country has its education system, most nations would have a similar concept or equivalent qualification. So the education system in the Philippines is different as it adopted a combination of influences from its colonial history. So for a long time, system in the Philippines was one of the shortest in the world. Back then, formal education was only required for 10 years, 6 years of primary school and 4 years of secondary school. So in the year 2012, a 13-year education is mandatory by law. It recently underwent a major overhaul of its education system. So, extending the basic education from 10 to 13 years to bring it in line with the education system of other Asian countries. So, this 13 years runs from the kindergarten up to the grade 12, which we also know as the K to 12 program, after which students have the option of whether to pursue higher education or not. So as a result, young graduates in the Philippines are becoming increasingly competitive in the jobs market, both at home and abroad. So since then, the education system in the Philippines became more similar to the American K-12 schooling. So the K-12 in the Philippines has three levels with four key stages. So the first level was the primary school, that is from kindergarten to grade 6. However, in the first level, it was divided into two key stages. The key stage 1 is the kindergarten to grade 3, and the key stage 2 is from grades 4 to 6. Then the second level was the junior high school, or the lower secondary education. It is also known as the Key Stage 3. So this is from the grade 7 to grades 10. And then the third level, also known as the Key Stage 4, was the senior high school or the upper secondary education. That is from grade 11 to 12. So let's move on to what is elementary education. So, elementary education is crucial to the promotion of the child as an individual, a member of the family, the community, and especially as a learner. So, because it is where the teacher provide the knowledge, they develop the skills, attitudes, and values, their personal development, for them to increase their awareness and their responsiveness to the changes and demands of the society. So let's tackle about the first part of the key stage 1, which is the kindergarten education program. So in here, it is the first stage of compulsory and mandatory formal education, which consists of 1 year of preparatory education for children who age at least 5 years. So this is a prerequisite for grade 1. So this aims to contribute to the development of young children by developing them with more structured learning experiences and to sufficiently prepare them to further schooling. So the kindergarten curriculum is represented through the kindergarten curriculum framework. So in here, as you can see, the picture in your screen, the items in rectangles below show the theoretical basis for teaching learning in the early years. So these support the principles of child growth and development. However, the circles in the upper part of the picture signify of how kindergarten education is to be employed. So the interlocked ellipses represent the learning domains that must be nurtured and equally imparted holistically to develop the children. So it also forms a flower that portrays the gradual unfolding but steady development that is expected of every child. So the child is in the process of blossoming like a flower bud whose development should not be forced nor lose its chance to fully mature. When it comes to their instruction, play-based activities or play is essential to healthy and holistic child development as it gives children the opportunities to learn about and understand the world and may be able to practice newly acquired skills. So the varied play-based activities in kindergarten lead the learners to becoming the emergent literates and help them to naturally acquire competencies to develop holistically. This may lead the learners to become willing risk takers and will be able to tackle formal school work. So in kindergarten curriculum, it has the following domains to develop the child holistically. So there are 7 domains. So when progress is noted in one developmental domain, it will consequently impact other domains. So the contents of the developmental domain are defined by their learning expectations. Next, the kindergarten time allotment. So as you can see, the kindergarten follows a class program that is known as the blocks of time. So following the daily routine helps children feel safe while supporting and encouraging them to take risks and work cooperatively with others. So the table shown outlines an indicative schedule, the description of activities, and the sample competencies that can be developed in each block of time. So the kindergarten teacher may be flexible enough to use the class of time to meet the learning objectives for a day and to give the children an ample time to explore and discover what they can do. That's all for the kindergarten education program. So let's move on to the next part of the Key Stage 1, which is the grades 1 to 3 program. So the grades 1 to 3 program serves as a springboard for formal schooling because this is where learners are initially exposed to learning areas that are taught in a separate learning blocks of time. So the learners in grades 1 are generally 6 years old, while those in grade 2 are 7 years old, and those in grade 3 are usually 8 years old. So here are the learning areas under grades 1 to 3 program. So in grades 1 and 2, there are only 7 learning areas, namely the MTB or the mother tongue, the Filipino, the English, the math, the Araling Panlipunan or AP, MAPE, like music, arts, physical education, and health, and ESP, edukasyon sa pagpapakatao. So as you can see, the grades 1 and 2, science is not included. So the learning areas in grade 3 are the same as the learning areas in grades 1 and 2. However, in grade 3, science is already included as a separate learning area. This is an example of a curriculum guide based on MELCS. As you can see there, the grade level is grade 1. The subject is a physical education, and from the table itself, you can see it was divided into quarter, the content standards, performance standards, the most essential learning competencies, and the duration of the most essential learning competencies to be discussed to the class, and it's K to 12 curriculum guide code. So here you can see the grades 1 to 3 time allotment. So this is the time allotment for each subject, that is the minimum period for the class interaction. So as you can see there, from grades 1, there are 2 semesters, first semester and second semester of different time. And then from grades 2 and 3, you only have 1 semester of 5.17 hours in grade 2 and 6 hours for grade 3. The learning stations are provided time for grades 1 to 3 to investigate further any topic from any learning area with minimum supervision from the teacher. So the stations may be for additional practice, for their enrichment, for their interest, or exploration. So the learners were provided hands-on activities on topics from the week's lessons, which may be accomplished individually with a partner, or in a small group. So the activities that learners may perform at the learning stations are explained by the teacher at the beginning of each week. So what are the medium of teaching and learning for the first key stage in the K-12 program? So uh, it observes a transition from the dominance of the mother tongue. In our place, we have the Sinugbuanong Binisaya, which is used from kindergarten until the second quarter of grade 1 to the accommodation of both Filipino and English, which are used in the second and third quarters of grade 1 until the end of the program for grade 3. So um, there are three languages that will be accommodated from kindergarten to grade 3. However, from the kindergarten up to the second quarter of grade 1, it is only pure Sinugbuanong Binisaya. Then starting from from the third quarter of grade 1 until grade 3, they are still accommodating mother tongue with an additional of Filipino and English language. So in their module, you can only have English language in an English subject and Filipino language in a Filipino subject. And the rest of the subjects are all in Sinugbuanong Binisaya or in mother tongue. So that's all for the key stage 1 from the kindergarten to grade 3. Let's talk about the next key stage, is key stage 2, the grades 4 to 6 program. So the grades 4 to 6 program provide opportunities for enhancement and application of learned literacy and numeracy competencies to varied content areas. So what students have learned in the kindergarten to grade 3, they should be able to apply in grades 4 to 6. So here, these are the learning areas, required learning areas in grades 4 to 6. As you can see, there is a Filipino, English, Science, Math, AP, ESP, and MAPE. And there is an additional of EPP or Edukasyong Pangtahanan at Pangkabuhayan. So as you observe, there is no longer MTB or Mother Tongue based because in grades 4 to 6, they no longer accommodate Sinugbuan ng Binisaya. They only focused on Filipino language and the English language. The following is the grades 4 to 6 time allotment. So this is the um, this is how subjects were being taught by their number of minutes daily. So in total, there are 6 hours to be taught per day for each learning area. So the remaining hours, especially the 2 hours, schools were encouraged to apportion time for their arrival and assembly, any library work, for their lunch and recess, remediation, or other related tasks. So here, the medium of teaching and learning from grades 4 to 6 are Filipino and language. So there's no longer Sinugbuan ng Binisaya here. So as you can see there, grades 4 and 5 have the same language subjects when it comes to English language and Filipino language. And there is a different subjects to be taught in grade 6 when it comes to English language and Filipino language. So how do we assess the uh, kindergarten grades 1 up to grade 6? Let's start off with the kindergarten assessment. So the primary means of assessing the kindergarten learners is through observation throughout the different blocks of time. So the assessment in kindergarten is designed to help teachers understand learners' individual strengths and weaknesses and enables teachers to design appropriate learning activities for them. So the qualitative and non-numerical recording and learning systems are used to describe how kindergarten learners are performing the expected learning outcomes that is outlined in the kindergarten curriculum guide. Now, how to assess the grades 1 to 3. There is a formative and a summative classroom assessments given to them in order to improve their student learning outcomes. When we say formative assessment, this is an ongoing process of providing learners with immediate feedback on how well they are learning. So the results of this type of assessment are documented but not included in computing learners' grades. In summative assessment, it is used to measure whether learners have met the content and performance standards. So the results of summative assessment are used as basis for computing learners' grades. At the end of grade 3, the learners will be assessed through a national assessment. This is to check if they are meeting the key stage standards and evaluate the effectiveness of the kindergarten to grade 3 programs. So this is called as the ELNA, or the Early Language Literacy and Numeracy Assessment for grade 3 learners. So this is a multiple choice format that will measure the grade 3 learners' language skills using a learning area content and numeracy skills. So moreover, English, Filipino, and mother tongue shall be the languages of assessment for ELNA. How do we assess the grades 4 to 6? Still, it has a formative and summative classroom assessments to improve the student learning outcomes. However, at the end of grade 6, learners will be assessed through national and international assessments to check if they're meeting the key stage standards and evaluate the effectiveness of the grades 4 to 6 program. So this is known as the NAT, or the National Achievement Test, which is also called as the exit assessment for the grade 6 learners. So those are the ways on how to assess the kindergarten, the grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's talk about the features of elementary education. The first feature is the multi-grade program. So the multi-grade program was formally introduced to public schools to ensure the continuous provision of quality education services in a far-flung, isolated, and underserved communities in the archipelago. So the public elementary schools were encouraged to provide complete grade levels, or to organize combination and multi-grade classes in schools with low enrollment. Next feature of the elementary education was the homeroom guidance for elementary pupils. So the homeroom guidance program, or the HGP, seeks to develop the personality of learners through an understanding of the self and the environment, and prepare them for their roles in the family, their work, their higher education, and the community. So it was designed as a way to strengthen the functions of school guidance. As such, it also gives importance to the individual learners. So the HGP activities aim to develop each learner's personality and enhance the student's social relationships with teachers and other classmates. The next feature is the special curricular programs, or the SCPs. So the SCPs are designed to provide learners multiple and varied experiences in elementary and secondary education, which allow them to explore their potentials and interests. So the following are the programs under SCPs. The first one is the Special Science Elementary School, or the SSES. So this is a nationwide program which aims to provide a learning environment to the gifted and talented students through special mathematics and science curricula. The next program is the Special Program for the Arts, or SPA. These are for grades 4 to 6, a nationwide program for students with potentials in the arts, namely the music, the visual arts, the drama, media arts, creative writing, and dance. In SPA, it is envisioned to produce holistically developed young and excellent artists and to preserve the Filipino cultural heritage through a learner-centered curriculum. So this aims to provide avenues for students with potentials in any field of the arts to progressively enhance their skills. The next program is the special program for sports. So this is for grades 4 to 6 students, was conceived to address the needs of talented students in different sports disciplines and to identify and create a pool of athletes who will be trained to compete in a national and international sports competitions. So this aims to enhance athletic potentials, active school sport balance, and prepare learners for work or higher learning. The next program is the special program in journalism. So this provides the promotion and development of campus journalism as a means of strengthening the ethical values, encouraging critical and creative thinking, and developing the moral, character, and personal discipline among the Filipino youth. The next feature of the secondary education is the co-curricular activities. So under it is the Supreme Student Government, or the SSG. It is the foremost co-curricular student organization that is authorized to operate and implement pertinent programs, projects, and activities in school nationwide. It lays the groundwork for good governance, volunteerism, unity, and cooperation by providing the students various venues where they can improve their leadership knowledge, their skills, and aptitudes. So through SSG, it also trains students to become better members of society. That is in accordance with the ideals and principles of participatory democracy and citizenship. Then the last feature of the elementary education is the special education program. So these are the programs and services provided for learners with disabilities. So there will be a classroom-based screening assessments that will be conducted. The data will be triangulated with interviews with parents, guardians, about the learners in the home environment, as well as the school grades and the class performance. Should there be um, a need to administer or use other tools to further probe into the learner's cognitive, their social, physical, perceptual, and motor abilities. So there should be an appropriate screening tools to be used. So such results of these assessments must be discussed with the school head and if possible with the division focal persons for guidance and special education so that an intervention plan for the learner can be prepared and implemented in collaboration with the learner's family. So that's all for the features of the elementary education. So we have already discussed the educational system at present for the elementary education, starting of the first level, the two key stages, from kindergarten down to grade 6. So that's all from my report. Thank you for listening. Good day, everyone.